Good morning. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar, Introduction to Facebook Ads. I'm going to give this a couple of minutes and make sure you're all able to join me. And let's see if we can get you all on with me. So, as we'll all know, this presentation will be available afterwards on replay for the next 3 weeks. So if you are watching and you are there and you can hear me, please do give me a thumbs up in the like box. Use the reactions, let me know you can hear me, and I'll wait and see who comes along. So we'll give it a couple of minutes. I know not everybody will watch this live. I had a few people tell me they're not able to watch it live, which is fine. And that's the whole purpose of having this as a 3 to 4 week course, if you like. If you're unable, if this is quite small, I would encourage you all to click on the enlarge screen button. Hello, Caroline. Thank you very much for letting me know you're here. Welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. And I would encourage you all to click on the enlarge screen option, which is in the bottom right-hand corner, to enlarge the presentation. And that way it'll be easier for you to kind of read all the screen and the writing. So we'll give it a couple of more minutes, and for those of you who weren't able or haven't caught up with the previous Facebook Live I did this morning at about 9 o'clock, the reason why you can't see me, won't be able to see me for this live stream, is because there's been obviously an update to Facebook recently on the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which has meant that with immediate effect yesterday or this morning as well for some apps, Facebook have revoked the capabilities for us to stream within Facebook groups using third-party software. What that means is, originally I was going to use a system that allowed me to toggle between the presentation and my face, and also toggle between other internet browsers. However, because of, as I said, this Analytica scandal, this data breach that we've experienced, they have actually revoked access with immediate effect to a lot of those apps, or to all apps actually. When the screen enlarges, the sound goes off, Lisa. It shouldn't do. It shouldn't. I have tested it. I have trialed it this morning, and it sounded fine. Perhaps you want to play with your sound settings. If not, I mean, I did watch it on the smaller screen. It was fine for me. It's completely up to you. Have a play with it. Yes, so as I was saying, unfortunately, that's meant that the plan that I had to host the webinar within this group is no longer available to us. So what this means, oh, fantastic. Thank you, Stamina. Thank you for putting that out. So it takes a few seconds and it recovers. So great. You guys are all using the comment function, which is the next point I was going to make. Throughout the next 60 minutes or so, please add your comments as we go into the comments box. I will flip between the presentation and the screen that I'm currently looking at so I can see what comments are pulling through. If I don't answer them all, I'll answer them at the end. I'll also answer them afterwards as well. So thanks so much for your questions in advance, guys, as well. Hopefully, I'm pretty confident that I've managed to factor all of those questions into this presentation. But as always, if I don't, there is room for question and answers at the end. There's also opportunity for you to touch base with me for the next 3 weeks while this group is still open. And that was the whole point, so that your learning and support is past this 60 minutes. There is going to be a bit of there's going to be 2 parts to this presentation, basically, based on the fact that I can no longer share multiple screens. It means that I've had to take some screenshots of some of the stuff that I was going to show you live, and I factored that into the presentation. So what we're going to do before we get cracking, I'm going to run through my presentation slides, presentation deck, and then I'm going to stop streaming, and I'm going to have to go live again in the group to do the practical run through. Unfortunately, that's the only workaround. The only other workaround was to live stream this on my Facebook page, and that would have been public for people who hadn't paid. So that wasn't obviously an option. But hopefully that has helped to introduce the kind of background to why we're doing it as we are. But thank you, Lisa. Lisa, you're all good, fabulous. Thanks, Damina. Thanks, Elizabeth. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Ladies, it's so lovely to have you here with me. Let's get going. So what we'll be talking about today over the next hour is the benefit of giving Facebook your money, what type of ads are most effective, how to use your budget correctly on Facebook, what data it is that you have at your fingertips and what it means. And also looking at content, how to create good content, what to do, what not to do, because you could have the targeting on point, you could have the budget set correctly, but if your content isn't right, you're not going to see results. So today we're only going to be focusing on paid ads only and boosted posts for some of you, which is more familiar with. Organic Facebook reach and engagement is a completely different subject, and one that we'll also be doing as a 30-day bootcamp in the future. So we'll also be talking about the kind of the budgets, £10 versus £100, and all those sorts of things. So, disclaimer first. It's really important that we remember that marketing is a mix. It's a mix of tools. It's a mix of tactics. Just like, Facebook on its own and Facebook advertising, it's a mix of tactics for you to use. Marketing involves research. It involves understanding your target market and what they want, not what you think they want. It's about testing as well. Marketing is about testing stuff, yeah? If you put up an ad one day, this is where the disclaimer was, I cannot say to you, do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to make £800,000 or 500, these six-figure fake adverts that you see. You're not going to do that with one advert, potentially at a £10 cost. There are so many factors to bear in mind that's going to generate you results, and a lot of it starts with testing. If you're going to put a post together that you then boost, or you put a paid campaign together and it doesn't work, you have to learn and look at why it didn't work and unpick those reasons. Yeah, so hopefully it'll become more clear at the end of this hour what those factors are that you need to consider and evaluate. There's generally one of three things. If your adverts aren't working, one of three things will be an issue for you. Your targeting is wrong, your content is wrong, so your update, your text that you're using, your call to action, or your imagery is wrong. So what you've chosen to use what you've chosen to use in terms of a picture or video is wrong. Okay, so those are the three things when we talk about testing that you would be looking at. And marketing is subject to change. These things change all the time. When you do get an advert right, Facebook likes to switch things up. It doesn't want you to get comfortable because it wants its users to be entertained, and it wants its users to have really great content. So for an example, it took about 4 months for me to get a really great conversion rate for a client of mine who sells products online. And we had been testing with the content, the targeting, the visuals, and we got this great mix eventually. We were targeting the right people at the right time with the right words and blah, blah, blah. It looked great. And after about 3 months of successful advertising, there was no success anymore, because Facebook doesn't like you to continuously do the same thing. So it will start to pick up on those facts and go, you're kind of taking the biscuit now. This is the same thing you've been saying for the last 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. We're not going to show this to as many people. So that is another factor to consider. If you've been running an ad really successfully for a long time and suddenly it stops giving you results, it's time to change it up. And it's also important to ask, what is it for my audience? There was a really great question actually from, I can't remember who it was. It was off the top of my head. Maybe I think it might have been Lisa, who asked me, is Facebook advertising valid for my type of business? Now, it is valid for all types of businesses, but it just might mean that your objective needs to be different. Okay, and it might mean that you trying to sell an 8-week course to them doesn't work, but actually publicizing an event to them might do. So you need to look at what's going to resonate with them. So why give Facebook your money? Because it's affordable no matter what your business size, and I'm really passionate about that. You can use £10 on Facebook and get some results in inverted commas. If you could see me, I was doing a little inverted commas thing. But you've got to manage your expectations. What does that result mean? You can spend £10 and get your post seen by 10,000 people. And if that's the right thing for you, then that's great. But just by clicking on boost post every 2 days because Facebook's telling you to and giving it £10 is not going to work either. However, the great thing is that Facebook is affordable no matter what your business size. And in the grand scale of things, it is much more affordable than traditional marketing. So against ad campaigns, printed media, Google AdWords, the value for money is much higher. And your marketer on Facebook, unless you're trying to target, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, they're not going to be on Facebook, but your access point to that market are on Facebook. There are over 1.5 billion people on Facebook, and the great thing is that you can target those people in the UK, abroad, locally, and it puts you on a level playing field with massive businesses. No longer do you have to go to a media outlet or an advertising agency and ask them to do the work for you. You've got that power in your hands, and that's really, really something that we've never had before in advertising and marketing. Now, the data that Facebook holds is really powerful. So, yes, I've addressed the Cambridge Analytica scandal earlier, and it was... it's concerning. People are concerned about the data that Facebook holds, but it isn't just the data that you give them in terms of, here is my phone number, here is my address, here is my date of birth. Okay, the data that Facebook holds on you and everybody else is your activity. Now, when you sign up to Facebook, you are giving them access to that data. You are signing a disclaimer that says, yes, you can gather this information from me. So what that means is that if you start engaging with stuff about social media articles, social media workshops, Facebook starts to paint a picture of you that you're interested in social media. If you start to click on wellness and well-being and yoga retreats, and you start to talk about that type of thing, Facebook is painting a story about you that says you're interested in well-being and yoga and fitness. What that means is that as an advertiser in the wellness, yoga, fitness industry, they can actually target you with adverts. Now, on one hand, you might be scared by that, but actually it does mean that you're going to be seeing stuff that's relevant to you and that you might be interested in. And for you guys as business owners, it means you too have that power, that ability to target people who have got an interest in the things that you have to sell. So Just an FYI, if you are getting adverts that you don't want to see, or you don't indeed want any adverts, here's a big secret. You can actually tell Facebook you don't want to see any adverts. And if you go into your settings of your Facebook profile and then go into advertising, there's a big section there that allows you to switch off and tell Facebook what you're not interested in. So, there's two points about Facebook advertising: boosted post and paid ads. What's called the Ads Manager. Now, let me know if you've had experience of using Ads Manager or not. I'd be really interested to know. A boosted post is done via your Facebook page. An Ads Manager, so paid ads, is done through a separate dashboard. And I will go through the practical element of that when we finish part 1, but I do have some screenshots at the end. I've put here there's 13 different ad objectives in Ads Manager. There's actually 11, they've removed a couple. Now, the difference between the boosted posts and the paid ads in Ads Manager is greater control, greater flexibility, and greater objectives. Okay, so you can pause ads easier, you can edit ads easier in Ads Manager, you can adjust budgets easier and change targeting easier. Once you've boosted a post, you can pause it and you can change the targeting, but you can't do much else. You can't change the picture, you can't change the creative, the writing part of it. So that's two things to weigh up. The other factor is when you use paid ads, they don't get pushed out onto your page like a normal post. So in order to boost something, you have to create an update on your page first, whether that's an event, post, a video, or whatever it is, just a general update. You have to do that out onto your Facebook page before you can boost it. By using the Ads Manager and using paid ads, you don't have to compromise your organic content, if that makes sense. So you can be putting out your, or should be putting out your really soft, unsalesy, value-based content on your page organically. And then you can use Ads Manager to set up highly targeted campaigns that drive a specific call to action. And you don't have to worry about that clogging up your newsfeed or your page, if you like. Hopefully that makes sense. Sounds great, right? So you don't have to, because I'm slightly touching on the organic side, which I said is a different module, but you don't want to be posting every day on Facebook on your page organically, because that's too much. So by using Ads Manager, you can post less on your page, but still advertise to your audience. Hopefully that makes sense. However, with all that greater flexibility and greater control does mean that there is a cost implication. Now, it is about testing again. However, some general advice is that if you aren't going to spend, if you're spending less than £100 on your advertising, then you should use boosted posts. If you've got more than £100 to spend, then you should use Ads Manager, because by default the objectives that you get in Ads Manager are more expensive to use because they have better results ultimately. So yes, that's the difference between boosted posts and paid ads, when to use them, when not. When you want to create, if you have the budget to create adverts that drive downloads, website clicks, conversions, so if you're an e-commerce or you have products to sell, and if you're going to be retargeting people, and that's in the advanced option, but retargeting, then Ads Manager is generally a great way to go. If you want to collect leads, for example, so this might work, Lisa, for your business. If you wanted to gather leads who may well be interested or a possible conversion later down the line to your 8-week course, then creating a lead form, you can do that directly through Facebook. Now, you might have heard of using kind of lead magnets in your traditional marketing, and you can do that directly through Facebook. So without having to set up a giveaway and then capture email addresses on MailChimp, you can actually capture email addresses via adverts on Facebook. So if that's of interest to you, that's a really clever piece of kit they do in the Ads Manager. Stamina, £100 over what period? Once off or over, say, 2 months? I would say it's a once off. So it might be a period of 2 weeks, let's say, your campaign is running, but £100 total budget for that one advert. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so one of the things that you need to still, how you choose your objective is about asking what's your call to action and who's your audience and what works for them, and to tailor your content around that. So, you know, I might put out a post that says I've won an award for the creative marketing. Fingers crossed that will be me at the end of next month. I might put out a post like that. Now, I want to cost effectively tell a lot of people that I'm an award-winning social media agency. I can do that with a boosted post for £10. Okay, so my objective with that post is to raise awareness and blanket promote the fact that I am an award-winning social media agency. If I wanted to, I've put the same post out, let's say, about me running an award. If I was thinking, oh, this will generate me inquiries, I'm going to put £10 behind it and boost this post, that's probably not going to work. If I wanted to use that as spin in order to generate leads, I would have to, it'd be better off me creating a lead generation advert through Ads Manager. So think about what your call to action is and manage your own expectations about what you're going to get out of it. And that will help you to make the right choices when you're boosting posts. Sue asked me, should I spend money to buy page likes to begin with when it's a new page? My answer to that is no. Never buy page likes. You really want to be building up your page audience organically to begin with, and then start to boost to them. Because if you buy likes, what you're doing is actually you're buying a lot of bots. So people will just crawl that type of advert and they won't like. And also I find that people have to know something about you first to like your page. If they just see Naturally Social pop up in their newsfeed like this page, they really aren't going to. So, and that's over about 5 years of experience watching other pages do the same thing and even testing it myself. Promoting your page to get likes is not an effective use of advertising budget. Okay, and then lastly, before I move on, always review your ads. So not a lot of people know this, and this is one of the mistakes that we often see, is that people don't review their adverts. They click on the boost post and they just let it go. And then they go, oh, after 7 days, didn't work. Why is that then? You actually have the ability to pause posts and stop them when you're advertising. My advice is to give it 48 hours. If it's not generating any engagement or results, if you're using Ads Manager, then you want to pause it and stop spending your money. So keep an eye on them. Once you start to run a campaign or an advert, don't just leave it there. 3 most effective types of Facebook adverts that there are out of those 11 options in both the Ads Manager and boosted posts. These are the things that I find work the most effectively when you have a small to medium sized budget. And I do apologize because I wanted to show you these links. But as I said, due to the fact that I can't use my third-party software to stream into this group, I can't actually click on these. However, I will send these links around and in the slides so you can see them. These are 2 examples of adverts that are using these 2 objectives. Lead generation is this one, and driving traffic to website is this one. Does everybody know what I mean by lead generation? Let me know if you don't, but hopefully you do. Is basically capturing people's data, so email addresses mainly. These work really well for, let's think, if you wanted to get sign-ups to gyms, gym membership, if you wanted to build a list of people to market to via email, if you wanted to give away an offer to somebody that involved you having to contact them. These are all good for that. What this does is it allows you to create a form, as I said, that you can say, if you're interested, something nice and snappy, and then you say if you're interested in joining our gym, I'm using that as an example because one of my clients, if you're interested in joining our gym, fill in this really quick, simple form. They click a button, Facebook populates the form from the information they have on that profile, and then that information comes directly to you. Really quick, really easy, a way to convert people from Facebook. So driving traffic to websites. So this is a specific objective in Ads Manager, but you can add buttons now to boosted posts that say learn more. Okay, so that's a key thing. Adding a button to a boosted post that says learn more, that should then drive them to your website or a specific web page so that they can get more information. These are great, really good value for money as well. And then boosting events. So if you have any open days, if you are running workshops, drop-in events, anything like that, boosting events, I find from experience, work a hell of a lot better than boosting a post. Why? Because what you do is you drive interest from the people that see the post because they click interested on that event. Then you've captured them to continuously communicate to them going forward. So you're kind of getting a double whammy, yeah? So if you set up an event for, let me say, my social media strategy workshop, I promote that to my specific targeted audience. They click interested. Once they click interested, they will then get updates every time I post within that event to say, hey, pretty much how I worked with you guys, yeah, for this one. Don't forget to sign up. Don't forget to get your ticket now. Those types of things. They're already a captive audience. So that brings us on to targeting. And what data do you have at your fingertips? I mentioned earlier, you choose what data is shared, and you also sign up to giving that data when you sign up to Facebook. You can also control what ads are shown to you. But it's about the data that you have at your fingertips is vast and varied. You can target people based on their interests, their age, their affinity with certain beliefs, certain behaviors, such as they may well be newly married. They may be interested in Weight Watchers. They might be living in a household that's recently mortgaged. They might be looking to sell their home. And there will be factors, targeting factors that will work for you guys, and we'll go through that shortly. But likes, interests, my top tip is to put yourself in your customer's shoes. What I see a lot of people doing is when they start to create the targeting and they start to put in the elements of the targeting, so I don't know, curry, Indian food, etc. They're thinking about what they think their customer is looking for. Yeah, so as an example, I'll use my gym customer as well. Again, when they first started creating adverts, they were trying to get people to sign up for membership. And when I looked at the targeting information they had selected things like interested in strength training, fitness training, cardio training, beach body, something like that. And actually, their target audience is women over the age of 45 who have slow metabolisms and who don't like to go to traditional gyms. So actually, when you look at that audience persona, they are not going to be the ones clicking on Facebook activity or commenting on Facebook activity that is around strength training, fitness training, core strength, etc., etc. That's really about, probably if you're targeting PTs, personal trainers. So we switched the targeting. We thought about the customer. We put ourselves in our customer's shoes, and we switched the targeting to feature to elements like Weight Watchers, Slimming World, This Girl Can campaign, and things like that. Not only that, but we also looked a bit further afield and said, okay, this is our persona, and they might be unhappy with their weight and they don't like gyms. They might like the body coach because the body coach is really accessible and fun, and everyone loves a bit of Joe Wicks. But what else does somebody who's 45, who might be in that frame of mind, what else might they like? What Facebook pages might they interact with? They might be interacting with something like Tesco's. They might be interacting with something like Lidl's, Aldi's. Okay, and those are also things that you can put into your targeting. So it's not just about what you think. It's not always the most obvious, basically. Try and create that customer persona and think about what other things those people are likely to be interested in, and use those as targeting ways. And test it. Run an advert that tests people just based on the immediate affinity, the Weight Watchers, the Joe Wicks, Slimming World, etc. And then perhaps try it where it's just the associated interests, Aldi, Lidl, Tesco's, etc., etc. So there is also a link on Facebook, which I'm going to share with you guys over the next few weeks, that gives you a whole host of tips to improve adverts. As I said to you early on, there's likely to be one of three things that's the reason why your Facebook ads aren't driving results. Results being interaction, engagement, conversions. It's going to be your targeting is wrong, the creative, how you've written is wrong, or the visuals. Okay? So, and I've had to move these slides around a little bit because I need to, as I said, do the double live streaming with the demonstration. So the content side is about thinking what type of content it is you're sharing. Think about whether it's going to be a video, a picture, moving image, an image carousel. If you are signposting people to your website, carousel adverts work really well. You can create slideshows and video. Everybody knows video is the big thing. If you can create video adverts, fantastic. You can also create multiple images. You can also create multiple image adverts as well. And think mobile. When you set up an advert, you will be given a window that shows you what it looks like in mobile and what it looks like on desktop. And use that to see, would you find that engaging? Is it too long? You don't want, and I've seen this a lot, people will advertise with a whole paragraph, if not multiple paragraphs of writing. Now, organically or paid, that doesn't work. Shorter the better. Think mobile. Your website is a place to have static information. Your Facebook advert or post is about inspiring interest that makes them click across to do something else. Avoid over promotional wording. Yeah, so don't be saying things like, we've got this sale on, buy one, two, get one free, and are you fed up with your usual gym? Would you like to feel better about yourself? That doesn't work. And actually, as an aside, there are specific terms that Facebook don't allow on adverts. And I'll share this link actually, I'll just quickly make a note of that. You are not allowed to directly pinpoint somebody in your advert based on their characteristics. So you're not allowed to use names either. So for instance, I created an advert a couple of months ago. I said, come and join Natalie at this social media strategy workshop. It'll be great, or whatever it was. And because I used my name, Natalie, it wouldn't allow it because they didn't know that I was referring to myself. Facebook thought that I was particularly trying to look out to somebody in the Facebook atmosphere called Natalie, and they don't like you to pinpoint somebody in that way. Similarly with characteristics, you can't say things like, are you fed up of being tired? Are you stressed all the time? Do you suffer with anxiety? You can't use wording like that. Similarly to things like sexuality and religion, you can't specifically use that as a way to generate interest. Hopefully that makes sense. If everybody is still engaged and happy and this is proving valuable, please give me a thumbs up in your reactions, give me some likes, give me some comments. I can see you all still watching, which is fantastic. And we're going to get on to some more visual slides very, very shortly. But just let me know that you're all still there. So yeah, avoid over promotional wording. Focus on the value. So what that means is the benefits. I'm sure a lot of you may have heard from marketeers that rather than focusing on the features, focus on the benefits. So things like, we're going to show you the ways to, like I did with this advert, you will learn the top tips for managing Facebook ads if you join me in this group. We want to help you feel calm and focused and determined. Things like that. So focus on the benefits and the value rather than trying to target people based on their characteristics. Okay, so here's a couple of examples of those adverts that I was talking about. On the left is an event post of a client I worked with, this time a couple of years ago. So this is what I'm looking at here. Wishes Devon. This was an event that we created. So it was an open evening. Now this was a brand new shop. This is a fairly cold audience as well, which is worth noting. And they were having an open day on the 5th. Sorry about that. It keeps popping up. That's annoying. 15th of April. They had a target of getting 20 people or so through the door. It was 25 actually. And we exceeded it here. 40 people showed as interested, 30 people showed as interested, as going. Why this advert worked, and bearing in mind, I think the budget for this was something like £100 or, no, actually I think it was less than that, £50 or £60 actually we used. Why this worked really well is because the image is great graphics. Sorry, I'm just popping back to the questions. Lisa, why can't you use those words like, are you fed up of being X? It's basically because you are, you're highlighting somebody's, you're taking advantage, in a nutshell, you're taking advantage of somebody's characteristic. So yeah, that's why Facebook doesn't like you to do that. But I will send the link around with why that's a factor. And I also think, by the way, that's just an EU thing because of our data protection rights and stuff, or EU regulations or whatever. We can't target people based on those characteristics. We have to focus on value. So this here, the reason why this worked, great graphic, looks really good, but also it's really short. and it's telling you what we're doing. And it's also giving you a reason to click interested. RSVP to receive your free goodie bag on the night. And that was the clear message. It wasn't just we're opening the door to Wishes, or Wishes is a new salon that has X, Y, Z. Really short. This is what we're doing. Here's a call to action. RSVP to get your free goodie bag. And then we target it to people in the local area, just purely in Devon. On the right, this is a website carousel example. So this had, you can see here, 1 image, 2 image, and you scroll across here, there would have been a third and a fourth. What we do here is the content, and this reached 5,500 people, and I think the click-through rate of that was pretty high. A couple of hundred people, I think, clicked through on the website. When you create a carousel advert, you can change this box of text here. Again, not many people know that. Just clicking back to see if I've got any more questions. Nope. Not many people know you can change these little boxes. So what I do is you use this box here to capture interest. So Sphere Management offered project management training, basically. If you're a small business, chances are you can't afford lengthy project management courses. This one-day workshop on June the 10th has been designed with you in mind. And then the factors here are all about managing successful projects in one day, save your business. They're extra little hooks. And then people can scroll through to the story. Ooh. People can scroll through the story and read all the extra bits here. So that's just a couple of examples of those types of adverts. Great questions, Tamina. Thank you very much. What does XYZ number of people reached? They've seen your ad, no action taken. Yeah, so again, this one here, reach is how many people saw it. You can see here engagement on that post at that time that I took that screenshot for a different course. Nobody had liked, commented, or shared. However, in the analytics that we got behind the scenes, we had something like 100 or 200 clicks on this button here through to the website. So that's how many people saw it. And then the analytics told us behind that we had 200 people click through onto the website here. And similarly here, got 11 likes, 9 comments. This now, by the way, this is a couple of years ago, this post. This statistic is different. This was a broader range it used to be about when it used to fall into any person's timeline. Now the statistic that you get is when somebody has definitely seen it in front of them and actually had to physically scroll past it, not it happened to go into their timeline, they may or may not have seen it. It's a lot more accurate now. You may well see a decrease, but it's a lot more accurate. So some Facebook ad tips. Boosting to a cold audience isn't as effective as boosting to your current audience. So if you're just getting started on a Facebook page, don't just start, focus on building your audience with organically, and then start boosting out to people and running adverts, unless you've got huge budgets to spend on Ads Manager. You do have an option to boost to your current page audience. Make sure the right time to do that is really when you've got, I mean, it used to be about 1,000, I'd say 800-900 likes plus before you start boosting to your current audience. Basically, that's because Facebook cannot guarantee that for your 20 quid, whatever it is, it will show your advert to every single one, for reasons I don't know, to be quite honest. But there's only a fraction amount of your total audience that will be shown something. Okay. Sorry, Elizabeth, I read that ads running more than 3 days were less effective after 3 days. No, to be honest, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying early on. When something is running for a long time, Facebook it's not going to be as effective, because if you're getting effects, if you're getting outcomes in the first 3 days, you're hitting your target audience. So then the longer it's running, the less of those amount of people there is to reach, unless you're going to put more money and expand that audience to more people. And again, if you've got something running over a long period of time, Facebook doesn't like you to be using the same content and the same ad structure. It likes to, because it focuses on its user. It wants the user to see something interesting. Saying that though, it takes about 48 hours for Facebook to really take your targeting factors and make it work. So interesting that you've read that ads running more than 3 days were less effective, because actually it takes a good 48 hours for them to really fine and hone in on your targeting. Yes, absolutely. I mean, an advert on one day isn't going to be as effective as an ad over 3, 4, 5, 6 days, that's for sure. One other suggestion, so I'm sorry, going back to that top point, that option to boost to your page audience is only really effective when you've got a larger amount of audience to boost to. So make sure it's around that 1,000 mark. If you've got like 600, 700, you can boost to your audience and friends. That tends to work. Keep your advert running continuously. This is if you're using Ads Manager, really. You can set up your advertising options to say, this is my lifetime budget, run it for 7 days, or this is my 500 quid, run it for forever and a day. Sometimes that, if Facebook thinks that you are going to run this continuously, it thinks that you've got a lot of money to use, therefore it's going to think, well, we'll keep sending this, it's going to favor your adverts, basically. So you can then keep checking back to see how it's performing, to keep tweaking it, to tweak the demographics, tweak the content, tweak the budget. But again, that's only really for using Ads Manager. Again, if you are running a boosted post and it's not getting any interaction after 2 or 3 days, pause it and probably start again with another post another day. So be clear, concise, and to the point in your creative. Grab their attention, like I showed you with that wishes example. Give them a reason to want to click through and do something and take action. When you use Ads Manager, another bonus is that you can set your charge at per click and not per impression. So when you're boosting a post, generally you're going to be charged every time somebody sees it or could see it in their newsfeed. That's why budgets get taken up a lot. When you use Ads Manager, you have the option, particularly in the website conversion objectives, to tell Facebook to only take your money when somebody actually clicks on your link. So again, thinking about objective and budget, Ads Manager is useful in that capacity. So, and then I said here at the bottom, are you boosting posts? The key is to monitor your content performance in real time. So this is when you'll get a notification from Facebook that says, this post is doing really well, you might want to boost it. Now this is a good indication because it's gaining a lot of traction and interaction. Facebook is saying, this is obviously a good post. So if you put some money behind it, you're going to reach more people and you're going to keep that momentum going. Doesn't mean it's the only time you should boost a post though. So we're going to go now just onto that demonstration bit that I mentioned and walk you through what everything looks like. And we might run a little over time, but if anyone has any questions up to that point, let me know. We've got about 15 minutes left. We started at about five minutes into the hour. So, and this is what I was just explaining then. This is a post I did yesterday. Let's get my pointer up. And you can see here it says, get more likes, post. Oh, I'll take that off actually. Get more likes, comments, and shares. This post is performing better than 85% of other posts on your page down here. You might want to think about boosting it. So that's basically saying, I mean, it is a way of Facebook getting money off you. But it's also saying this is doing really well. So if you do want to increase the reach, then this is a good way to do it. This is where it's key to remember what your objective is. Yes, okay, it looks tempting to put £3 behind this to reach up to 590 people, but my content here really just says Throwback Thursday to the last Wilts tweet up, which happened a few weeks ago in Trowbridge. I don't really need 590 other people to see that post. So no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so when you do see these messages, think value to you. What would boosting this get me? However, as I said, if I put this post up that said I won an award last week, yes, I would probably do this and boost it. So when you click on the boosted post button at the bottom, this is the mobile and desktop view that I mentioned earlier, and then you're faced with all of this. Hopefully this looks familiar to you all. But you get, this is new to boosted posts, setting an objective. Now these are very basic objectives compared to what you get in Ads Manager, but this is basically, you can either change it from engagement, getting reactions, comments and shares, or you can change it to messages. Now I tend to stick with engagement because if you get engagement on your posts, you'll actually get more reach because Facebook's algorithm is driven by engagement. If you just direct people to message you, that's quite a private action. So publicly, people won't see how many people have messaged you as a result of seeing that advert, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would definitely stick with this objective. This is new, adding a post button. So these options here, there's a whole ton of these, and I'll go through that one. Here we go on the next screen. You've got all these options now that you can add a button so that it will fall at the bottom of here. When you start to boost it, you'd get a little button here that says learn more, visit website, buy tickets, or something like that. So these are great. Again, using the awards example, if the post was doing really well, it was about me winning an award, I wanted to boost it, and actually a great idea to drive some further interest that might lead to inquiries in the future would be to use the learn more button, and that drive them to my website. So you might not always use a button on your post, but it is great to get more bang for your buck in a sense. It's great to try and drive more outcomes because you want to make the user journey as easy as possible. So if you caught somebody's attention with the creative and there's no further option to click onto a website, get tickets, etc., you're going to lose their interest. And then this is the audience. So this is down the left-hand side of your ad. So down here, you've got this screen. You'll get an audience selection. You can set up your own audiences, and that's more of an advanced feature, which is a different module. But this is the one that you want to go to. People you choose through targeting, and then you get this option here. Key tips for this: remember the age. Yes, okay, the biggest age range on Facebook might be 18-year-olds, but they're not using Facebook now. They might have profiles, but they hardly use their accounts. Sorry, Elizabeth, you lost me. What have you lost? Have you lost me on sound, visibility, sense? Let me know if everything's okay. So these are the functions that you need to use. So again, think about whether it's men or women you're targeting, or whether it's both. Be strategic with your age. So 28 to 50-year-olds, or it might be, who is your audience? But don't just blanket 18 to 65-year-olds, because with boosted posts, this is a really quick way just to wipe your money, because 18-year-olds all have accounts on Facebook, they just don't use them. Select your location that you might want to target, and then this is where your detailed targeting comes in here. So you can add your demographics, your interests, or your behaviors. So you've got a couple of options: browse or suggestions. Suggestions are what Facebook thinks you might want to use or have used before. So for instance, I typed in social media as an interest, then I clicked on suggestions, and it's come up with these: digital marketing, social media marketing, online advertising. So these are things that the user has either interacted with or talked about on their profiles, and that's where Facebook gets that data from, that information. You can also browse categories, so demographics, all these things here. This is what Facebook has already on you, if you like. So things like whether or not you're mortgaged or you've got kids or anything like that. Now, have a play when you're adding these in. Play with the amount. There is no set amount that's recommended, but once you start to pick and choose these interests and behaviors, it will start to tell you what size audience you're likely to be targeting. Have a play with those until you get a sweet spot amount of people. Facebook will tell you if it's too broad, too narrow. But interestingly, you might add 5 and Facebook tell you that it's the perfect amount of audience. Then you add a 6th and it says, no, it's too narrow. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it's a glitch. But have a play with adding in these targets. Remember, that's after you think about who your audience is and what they might be interested in. And then there's the Ads Manager. So this is the other option of putting your advertising behind Facebook. This is found when you log into your profile. In the top left, you've got the little drop-down arrow, and then you can go to Create Ads here. And this is what you're then given. You're given a dashboard that looks like this with 11 different objectives here. And these are also cheapest, middle, most expensive. So for you guys, predominantly, you probably predominantly be working in these 2 categories. Stamina, what should I use to promote my new yoga and dance retreat in October? It is local and international audience. Create an event or create an ad and run that. I want people to see the retreat and click to the web or sign up for it. I would say create an event for sure, particularly if you, depending on what size your audience is already on your page, or whether or not you've got quite a good reputation in those international areas. I would definitely create the events because that's going to allow you to send more messages to people as well. Thank you, Samina, for that question. I hope that helps. Okay, so yeah, that's the Ads Manager. And then I'm going to come off and give you a more practical kind of walkthrough in a sec. But going back to this slightly, one thing that not a lot of people know to do is you can target people based on the pages that they like. So as I said, I might like Waitrose, or I might like a page called Social Media Examiner, where I can target people based on that by typing the Facebook page into this box here. Now you can also find out what pages people like. You can also find out what other pages people like based on one page. I'm going to show you an example of that. So for example, I can type into the search box on Facebook, pages liked by people who like Naturally Social. And then it will give me a list of all the other pages people like. And then I can put those pages in here. But they have to have quite large audiences. So they have to have like over 10,000 page likes, I believe. But that's really useful, particularly, Stamina, if there's anybody in the yoga or retreat space who's got quite a large audience size or influence, particularly abroad, you can start to target them. So just quickly, we're getting to the sort of rounding up time now. These are objectives. The awareness objectives can generate interest in your product or service. The consideration objective is to get people to start thinking about your business or looking for more information. And then conversion is about encouraging people to purchase or buy stuff. So before we come on to some questions and then a quick scoot round the physical show through, if you like, on a new live, this is your homework after today for the next couple of weeks. I want you to set up or jot down a potential ad campaign or boosted post, thinking of the following, and then I want you to share it back with the group. Think about what your objective is, decide what your budget is, think about what visuals will accompany it, what type of media you're using, and what you're targeting are. So I want you to set up in draft format or jot down some ideas, and we're going to be sharing this over the coming weeks. So, and that way I can give you guys some advice on whether or not that's going to work and what you can tweak. So Lisa, I've already got events set up. Do I need to create a new event to boost it? No, if you've already got an event set up for something that's happening, then you can use those. I think just tidy them up probably. We can have a look at whether or not you've got enough information in them, and whether or not they're fully formatted properly and they're of the right format to be boosted. So if you've already got events set up, don't create a new one to boost it, no. And I'll show you how you can boost events in a sec. Okay, so guys, that is a whiz through of an hour introduction to Facebook ads. Just as a reminder, we've talked about the benefits of giving Facebook your money, what type of ads are most effective, how to use your budget correctly, and looking at what data you have available at your fingertips, what it means, and as well as thinking about creating good content. We've got a bit of homework to do over the next couple of weeks so we can continue learning and getting value out of this group. Does anybody have any more questions at this time? Do pop them through to me. Obviously, you can ask them after today, but add them as opportunity now for you to just pop some questions in the comments. So whilst I wait for some of those questions to come through, if you do have any, just to let you know that I am launching a new service in June this year. It's called the Social Media Academy, and it's going to be a monthly paid for subscription social media school. Why? Because these things are great, and I've loved talking to you guys this morning for this hour about Facebook ads, and I really hope it was been packed full of value. But what I want to do is make sure that small biz owners, micro biz owners are able to really get to grips with social media, put things into practice, learn, develop, and at the end of that period, are owning it, and you don't need to go on to any more courses potentially, and you have a really great strategy in place. So the Social Media Academy is 11 months. It's £60 a month. What you get is 11 different modules. We'll be covering things from strategy, tone, creating video content, adverts again, and looking at the various different channels. There'll be a module on Facebook, a module on Instagram, a module on LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And it will involve a monthly Facebook Live like this one. And it will also involve, I will give you the main teach, and then it will also involve some homework and some group work. So we'll set the homework similarly to what I've done today, and then we'll ask you to come back into the group and share with each other so we can keep learning. So at the end of 11 months, you've been mentored over that period, so that at the end, you've got a strategy, you've understood how to use stuff, and you're confidently using those channels without fear, and you're getting results. I'm really, really excited by the Social Media Academy. It's been built off the back of my 3-hour mentoring that I offer, which has proved really popular. And this allows me to give you education, but also support over a long period of time, and give you accountability as well. So I will stop rabbiting on about that. That's the link at the bottom. I'll also add that into the comments if you want to gain some interest. if you want to show your interest, sorry, and get a bit more information, I'll be sharing that over the coming weeks. And if you want details on how to sign up, there is a limited amount of people because I really want it to be a close group, but I can support you all as effectively as possible. So no more questions have come through, guys. That means I am going to come to the end. I want to thank you all so much. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to finish this live, and for those of you who are interested in having and seeing that poke around the live example of me using the Ads Manager and boosted posts, I'm going to do that shortly as a little extra. I know it's only been an hour and 5 minutes. We've already had an hour and 5 minutes, but as you know, I love talking all things social media, so I'm going to I'm going to come off this one now, and then I'm going to give you the run-through, the live run-through of the boosted posts and the Ads Manager. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And again, this isn't the end. This is not the end. We've got a good couple of weeks now where you guys can keep in touch. So the group shuts on the 30th of April. So yeah, you've got some time to make use of it. Okay, guys, and I will remind you, yes, I will. I'm a stickler for homework. I will remind you of the homework. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for taking part and for joining me. Stamina, it's an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to working with you over the next few weeks. I'm going to pop across and come back for the next live. Bye, guys.